fresh off a much-needed win for his Dodgers last night, is Dave Roberts. How are you, Dave?
Hey, Rich, what's happening? I'm doing well, and you said it. A much-needed win, and in good fashion. I'm a lot better than I was a couple days ago.
Now, it's interesting. I mentioned this to Alex Cora the other day when he was on the show on Monday, that you guys aren't called coaches for a reason. You're called managers for a reason, because you must manage not only the team but the talent and the mentality of your players. And I can only imagine the manner in which you guys were losing games with the Kenley Jansen going down to injury and being on the disabled list with several blown leads, go-ahead runs being scored against you in the ninth inning 4 times. How do you manage a situation like that in your clubhouse?
Yeah, Rich, that's well phrased, and it is managing it, and it is the psyches of the guys, and just, a major league loss is tough, and no one likes to lose. But when you're losing games in the 8th and ninth inning, that makes it a lot tougher, obviously. And just to keep guys positive and coming in fresh. And for me, it's one of those things that in our clubhouse, the culture we have, Rich, that there's no blaming everyone. We're in it together. And yesterday, guys picked each other up, and the young kid, Caleb Ferguson's been really good for us and had a tough one last night, but it was nice for us to come through. But you look around the guys, I love our guys, I love the clubhouse, and I still feel we've got the best team.
Well, I mean, you're only a game and a half out, and there's 40 games to go. So, I mean, you're right there. It's a 3-team race, essentially, although the Giants are coming on strong. So when you say keep it positive, I mean, how do you do that? Do you look for anybody with their heads hanging or of fingers pointing? I mean, how do you accomplish that fact, Dave?
I think the thing is just coming in fresh, because I think that, you look at some of the games that we lost, and we were on a, 4 or 5 game skid, and you look at 8 innings of each game, we played pretty good baseball. We really haven't swung the bats well, but the starting pitch has been really good. And the pen, by and large, those guys have really pitched their tails off, and, just losing games late in one bad inning. So I think that for us, myself, the coach, when we have guys like Justin Turner also really helps the mood, and Clayton Kershaw's been fantastic and such a pro. And also, like I said, Rich, when you know that the talent is in the room, ultimately we're going to win this division.
And what have you learned about Machado, having him in front of you now, Dave, that you perhaps didn't know?
Well, one thing is he looks really good in a Dodgers uniform. I know that.
No, yes, he does, I'm sure.
I'll tell you that, doesn't he? But you know what? I think that started off well, and the skill set obviously is ridiculous. Cooled off a little bit, but getting back home, I think he's really swinging the bat well now. And just the versatility to be able to put him at third base and play ridiculous defense at third base, and then play him at short. And you saw the other night the barehanded play, balls to his right, the arm strength, things like that. So he's all in. And so you look at Machado, who we just acquired a few weeks ago, but just kind of where he's at right now, the way he's assimilated the clubhouse, it's like he's been a Dodger all year.
And have you had a conversation with Corey Seager about Machado being acquired at all?
We have not. I have not. I've seen Corey just finish his hip surgery, so he's back in town doing rehab. But as far as the conversation regarding Manny, outside of it's good to have him and he's going to help us win a championship this year, that's about it.
But you think he might be concerned about the future, that Machado might stick around and Seager might have to move, or Turner, or the future? Has that been
I don't think so. I don't think, and I know Corey pretty well, so I don't think that he gets too far ahead of things. And obviously Manny's a great player, but the offseason is a long ways away, and he's free, so he can kind of do what he chooses, and pick where he wants to. So when that happens, we'll adjust, but if and when it happens. But I think right now, Corey's just rooting for his teammates.
And how is Jansen? How is he?
Kenley is in a good place. I know that there's that cardiologist appointment on the 20th, and hopefully we get the green light from there. But as far as spirits, and yesterday, Rich, he threw a simulated game to some guys, so the arm strength, to keep that going. He's in great shape, working out and stuff like that. He just couldn't take swings yesterday off of him because potential for a batted ball hitting him. But hopefully we can get him going soon.
So it's possible that he won't be gone a month. you think?
It is, certainly. And I'm holding out hope the organization, as Kenley is, but ultimately it's Doc's decision.
Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager here on the Rich Eisen Show. Now, I know you've got your own shop, you have your own team, you have your own issues, and you were out on the field. But I don't know if you did see what happened in Atlanta last night between Jose Urena and Ronald Acuna Jr. Dave, did you see that?
I did, Richie. I saw it, yeah.
Okay, what did you think? What's your reaction to that?
Well, my first thing is frustration, disappointment, disbelief. You know, you got a young player in Acuna who's really great for the game and does things the right way, and he's swinging a hot bat. And so to see a ball that goes right into his ribs, towards the ribs, but obviously hitting his elbow, obviously clearly intent. And, you know, when you're talking about a major league pitcher and a guy who's hot, and Urena's words saying, I know he's hot, I wanted to move his feet, there was nothing even close to his feet. And a lot of times, as people that have been in a batter's box know that when you're moving a guy's feet and dropping them that way, that has more effect than something like that. And I was just very disappointed and disappointed, yeah.
So what do you think the punishment should be, Dave?
Well, there's going to be, in my opinion, a suspension. When you're talking about throwing a baseball with intent, that calls for suspension. And, you know, to what degree, that's up to the commissioner.
No, and I know you can't get in people's heads, but, you know, I'll ask you bluntly, do you think Mattingly ordered this code red, if you will?
I don't. You know, as a manager, and the thing about managing is you don't ever want to, and I can't speak for Donnie, but was he aware of he was going to brush him off? Yes. Did he mandate it? I don't know, and I would really believe that I'd really like to believe he wouldn't do something like that. Because as a manager, it's really scary when you mandate something like that, because if something does happen to a player and it causes serious injury, then that's on you, and you don't ever want to put yourself in that situation.
Well, Dave, and I had mentioned this the previous hour. Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager. I mean, Mattingly's not just any manager. He had an 8-game home run streak of his own in 1987, and we looked it up. He wasn't hit by a pitch a single time. So it's not like something that he experienced and he went through himself as a player. So, you know, he knows that there's a precedence for this sort of thing, and went out and ordered the kid to hit Acuna. So I guess my question for you is this an unwritten rule in baseball? I mean, is this
no.
It is not. You don't think?
I don't think so. I mean, I think that brushing a guy off, throwing in, and there's a thing that, Rich, there's a thing, and you know baseball as well as I do. You know, to be able to throw in, to keep a guy honest, you know, instill a little bit of fear. I get it. But being able to throw in and throw in with effect is a different thing. So if you can't throw inside and not hit guys like that, then don't throw inside.
Dave Roberts here on the Rich Eisen Show. And then in your own shop, there was a benches clearing scenario a couple of days ago where it seems that Puig took a little bit of bait at home plate and wound up getting ejected. Have you spoken to Yasiel Puig about having...
I did.
Okay.
I did. I talked to him yesterday, and before batting practice, and it's one of those things that obviously it was instigated by Nick Hundley, and Yasiel, like you said, took the bait, and so we all have our pride, our egos, and you still have to be a pro and understand that we need him in the baseball game. So it was good to see. Obviously, our guys came to his defense, and he's emotional, as we all know. But it's a lesson learned that you know, sometimes you got to take the high road.
Mm-hmm. And so, do you think he heard you or listened?
I do. No, you know what? He's emotional, Rich. You know that. But I definitely think that if something like this happens in the future, and Yasiel, with his track record, he's a target, and people around the league, they know that, and I made it very clear to him. And I don't see this happening again.
Well, I mean, look, the history with you and Puig is you and the Dodgers could have flat out cut him a couple of years ago. Instead, you sent him down to AAA to take some time in Oklahoma City. Came back as a different player, it seems. But there are folks in LA waiting to see that 2013 Puig come back to the fore here, and wondering if there's on occasion just some coddling to make sure that could possibly return. Dave, how would you respond to that?
No, but I think that if you look back, Rich, if you look at since he came back from the disabled list, I mean, he's got an OPS of over 1,000, and I think since that point he's top 3 or 4 in the National League. So is it that first 3 weeks of 2000, whatever you said it was 13? No, but it's but over the consistency over the time period, it's pretty dang good.
So how do you view the next 40 days then? 40 games, Dave. How do you approach it? What with a tight race in that NL West and then certainly the NL wild card? What's the approach here?
The approach is to focus on each game, and that's the way it's always been. And we got the Mariners heading up to the Northwest, and this is a team that's vying for a playoff berth as well. They're playing good baseball. They got Robbie Cano back. They got D. Gord playing good baseball, Nelson Cruz, and we're going to have our hands full. But I think for us, Rich, it's taking one game at a time. Okay.
So I'm. By the way, what if I wrote a book about the unwritten rules and wrote them out, Dave? Would that be a bestseller, do you think?
You know what? I would buy it, Rich, and I would burn it.
That's not the no. It would be. I think I just want to have it written out for me to understand.
I would buy it though. But you know what, Rich? Hey, if there's a bunch of unwritten rules, man, you know what? Make a copy and then let me know, because I've been around this game for a long time, and so I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad. Yeah, maybe you could write, the forward for the book for me, Dave, because
exactly. If there's a manual for us on unwritten rules and how to do things the way the game is supposed to be played,
right,
let me know.
I would, because you and I are in lockstep. I saw that last night. This kid getting hit and just where by a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. So obviously Urena, we all know, has got some talent, and to me, it's just him basically saying, "I'm not competing. I'm not going to compete tonight." And that was so patently disappointing, certainly for a league that with a young player like this, I'm on the edge of my seat wanting to see if he was going to pop another one out to lead off the game.
No, exactly. And the thing is, that's my last parting shot is, Bob Gibson, the person we all know as a guy that threw up and in all the time and logged close to 3,000 innings and hit 100 guys. And I saw another article where all these guys now that we have currently that have logged a lot less and have hit more guys. So even Bob Gibson, who's old school throwing in but understanding how to throw the baseball in to impose fear on a hitter and still commanding that part of the plate, though. So there's a difference.
Dave, always enjoy our chats. Let's chat down the line.
All right, Rich, take care.
You bet. Same to you. Dave Roberts, Dodgers manager. That's a big series. Dodgers, Mariners.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.